Hello and welcome. My name is Carney and I am a creative consultant and author and hopefully just an all-around fun guy. And we're going to do some fun things today and show you about doing bobbin work. When we talk about bobbin work, it's where we sew with a heavier thread, yarns, ribbons, all kinds of wonderful different types of textures created in the bobbin by putting that and sewing upside down. So we're going to actually stitch upside down. So we're going to start by talking about some of the different kinds of things you can put in your bobbins. I have some wonderful chenille that I've wound on my bobbin. There's also a beautiful ombre, and this is absolutely a gorgeous, soft, beautiful yarn that has been wound on the bobbin. You can use things like silk ribbon. You can use all kinds of wonderful yarns in your bobbin, and you're going to wind it on your bobbin, and we're going to start sewing. So we're going to start by winding a bobbin first, because that's how we get started. So on your machine, you're going to want to make sure, there are a lot of people that like to hand wind. I prefer to wind my bobbins on the machine utilizing the bobbin winder and winding it through the tension. I think it gives you a lot more control over your yarns and your threads, your ribbon, when you put it through the tension disc. So we've wound several of them to start out with, and we've placed ours in the bobbin already. The second thing that's the most important is to have an additional bobbin case. The additional bobbin case allows you to adjust and play with your tension. We need to be able to change it for the different weights of what we'll put in our bobbin, so it's very important to have an additional one. Visit your local sewing machine dealer and they'll be able to set you up with the proper bobbin. Now, when we adjust the tension on the bobbin, there's a little set screw. This is a drop-in bobbin. There are bobbin cases that are also going to be a push-in bobbin case. They will also have a screw on them. There are two different screws, so we're going to make sure not to adjust your permanent screw. We want to adjust our tension screw. And when we adjust the tension screw, rule of thumb, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So we're going to just adjust it. And I adjust it in small increments. So we're turning it a very, very tiny, tiny bit. You'll want to remember that this screw is very short. So you don't want to unscrew it completely. So you're going to just loosen it, and we'll drop our bobbin in our case. Give yourself a nice long tail, and you'll still pop it into the tension as normal. You want to give it a pull, and the thread should flow freely. So if you're using a ribbon or a yarn, you still want to watch and pull so that the thread or the ribbon is flowing very freely. You don't want to get a hiccup. And so here, that looks like it's pretty good. We've adjusted ours so that it's set and ready to go. Now we've already put our bobbin case in, so you would replace your original bobbin case that comes with your machine. You would replace that one with the bobbin case that you've purchased. We've already placed ours in, and we're going to choose a stitch on our machine. Now, as you can see, I've selected a lovely star stitch. When you use a star stitch with bobbin work, it will look as if you stitched flowers. This little piece is my little tester, and we've sewn out some here. We're going to sew some now. You always want to test. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll pull up our piece, and I've got some beautiful silk here, and notice the pretty side is upside down, and you're going to still stabilize. So we've got stabilizer, and it's on the top. Normally you would have it upside down. We've got it on the top. I start with an open toe foot. That allows me to see where I'm going. So I'm going to place it under my presser foot, and I'm going to bring my bobbin thread up through the top. So we're going to start by pulling our thread around, and we'll bring it up, raise your foot, and now you've got the two threads. You can use a stiletto or a needle, but you'll want to pull that bobbin thread through the surface. So when you pull it, You want it to come all the way up and through, and you'll have both of your tails. And that's because when you first start a stitch, it's going to pull, it's going to knot, and we don't want a big knot back there. So we're going to go ahead and start. And we got our stitch set. I have my stitch set at a little longer than the machine default. And I also have it a little wider. So I've made mine a little wider on my machine. You'll also want to bump up your needle tension. You should see a little color popping through on every stitch when you're doing a decorative stitch. A little bit of that color should pop up through the points so that you'll notice that the bobbin is going to stitch the stitch correctly. So we'll sew a little bit of this out. You don't want to sew very fast in case you run out of bobbin thread or your bobbin thread should happen to break. This will give you the opportunity to catch that. And so now we've got a nice little stitch going. We'll stop and let's check this now. Raise our foot and we'll pull that out. Cut your tail and cut your tail. And you'll notice you'll end up with a lovely row of what looks like little flowers. So we're going to switch our machine over to embroidery so that we can embroider a beautiful design. Now, I want to share with you this beautiful piece that I've been working on, and we're going to use this piece. I want to make a backing, but I don't want the back to be boring. So I have a gorgeous red silk again that we're going to use on the back. Notice the pretty side is hooped, and I've stabilizer on top. So we're going to get our machine switched over and ready for embroidery. I'm going to change my foot, so that foot will just pop off. We've got this wonderful sensor foot that works on this particular machine, and we just have to get it plugged in. So I'm going to feel for my little spot back there to plug it in, and then we will connect it. And I'm going to go ahead now and put my hoop on my machine. Notice again, the pretty side is down. Stabilizer's at the top. And we'll just slide our embroidery hoop on. This is a feathered quilting stitch, so it's a beautiful design that is very easy to get into your machine and set and ready to go. So at this point, the design is set. We don't need to rotate it or do any changes on the machine. So we're really ready to start. I'm going to slow the machine down, and we're going to make it move to the first stitch position. So we're going to go ahead and let it jump one, and that allows it to get out of center needle position and move so that you can pop up your bobbin thread. So we'll pull up the bobbin thread again. So we'll grab it. You want to get that tail up to the top of the surface. So now we're going to go ahead and let our machine start. I'll take a few stitches and then we'll stop and get rid of that tail. We don't need that anymore, and that would go away. And so from here we're going to start. Now again, you may want to bump up your needle tension if you need to. So now while the machine is going, I'd like to share with you some of the other beautiful samples that you can do and some of the other techniques you can do with embroidery. Here we're stitching out a design, and here we're using another quilting design, and this time we're using some silk ribbon in the bobbin. The same design has been done as a beautiful table topper and using chenille, and again with silk ribbon, and this is all hand dyed. And then our beautiful metallic ombres that are wonderful threads to use in your bobbin. The design that I'm sewing that's going to go on the back of my quilt right now has also been added to this shirt. So you can take ready to wear and add a beautiful design to it just to add a lovely texture and to add more oomph to something. So it really gives a beautiful texture and utilizing all of the beautiful threads. So the machine is going right now, and it's going to stitch out our wonderful design. We're going to let it finish our design, and then we'll have a beautiful back to go on my beautiful, beautiful quilt. So our embroidery design is finishing up now, so it's almost around to that point where we're going to let it stop. It's going to be finished, and it's going to be done. So now let's take it out and see what it looks like. Pop our little embroidery hoop, and we'll take it out. Let's cut our threads. And ta-da! Look at how gorgeous. Don't you think that's going to make a beautiful back on the quilt?